The rumors are flying around, and possibly Gaddafi is too, on his way to Brazil or Argentina, or so the stories go. His son is threatening to fight to the last bullet, but one would hope he saves that for himself. Egypt has turned over and Libya soon will, which means that Algeria can't have too long to wait, especially given the corruption of a government that has the biggest disparity between what's available and what reaches the people. It's a given that Israel is doing everything she can with money stolen from the American taxpayer to see that the revolution turns out her way. I suspect it's going to be hard to implement pro-Israel policy with the populations in a state of such volatility. One thing is certain is that everyone in the region hates Israel. And there are more good reasons for that than I have time or virtual space upon which to record them. There's a new movie coming to the real-life screens in the Middle East. The working title is Sundown for the Despots. It's a kind of Bingo Long and the Traveling All-Stars meets The Revenge of the Dancing Chicken. The latter is not a movie, it's just a title of a movie. Just like the universe is the name for something we don't understand and will never chart or measure. The dancing chicken is a symbol for all the persecuted and slandered Arab peoples whose existence has been determined by whatever is good for Israel. What's good for Israel is not good for anyone else, and what's good for anyone else is not good for Israel. The days of this made-up impersonation of a country, doing business as global outlaw bankers with specialized divisions for terrorism, weapons, drug and organ trade are nearly at an end. You want Armageddon? We can get it for you wholesale, cheaper than stolen. What do you want? How much for the little girl? And so on and so forth. It seems like only about a decade ago that behind-the-scenes instigators working through the Department of Education were promoting pimps and hoes proms. And now the pimps and hoes are in trouble. They are still at it with feeding depraved reading material into the curriculums and organizing gender-neutral proms. In Germany, they're promoting incest in the school systems, but either the whole thing is slowing down or it is really speeding up. I can't tell anymore, but I know they're losing ground no matter what pace it's moving because it's endgame. What endgame means is that it's time to party down or up as you prefer. You can snake dance down to the lower astral hells and suit up for the next round, or you can make a dimensional shift and head for parts unseen, but lingering in memory of brighter days. I hope you don't think I like having to go off on Israel every other time I put finger to keyboard, or that I'm being too hard on the psychos that brought that nasty piece of business into existence. But either they're responsible for all the things that they're responsible for, or they're not. Since they are, and since they fielded their A-team of lying sacks of shit across the board and hate truth, humanity, and all things Christian and Muslim, because of these confining moral clauses, which they are endeavoring to destroy with the help of sold-out traitors high and low, well, it's an unpleasant but necessary job, and until the cry is taken up around the globe, we are the chosen victims, in the same way that they are the self-chosen people of a horned god. You can't swim across the waters of life and death with a scorpion on your back, for reasons already given out in timeless allegory from other times. The world is going into full-scale revolution mode because those who already have too much want more, and the only place they're going to get it from is you and your offspring. This revolution is coming out of the unseen worlds through the schematic of a new template that is being laid upon the plastic substance of a world responsive to change, which in this instance does not mean more of the same. The food and fuel shortages, the bank foreclosures and bank bailouts, the pharmaceutical/AMA combine, the war in munitions industries, the perversion of the education system, and the destruction of the family unit, and all the rest of the engines of oppression and enslavement around the world are all being operated by the same band of international criminals. You've got the governments and religion in their pockets, and they have turned the whole world into a crooked roulette wheel where the house always wins. They want your children as cannon fodder and sexual squeeze toys for some kind of world disorder that serves the agenda and the appetites of a small and well-organized group of satanic psychopaths, and every day it's going to be your turn in the barrel. You can argue and pass it as you like. You can bend it in all directions to be fair. You can calculate, appease, and genuflect until you know precisely how many hair-splitting angels are dancing on the head of a pin. But it won't affect these creatures. They want it all, even the parts they don't want. They want it for themselves and to keep it from you. They want it for the sheer joy of seeing you suffer without it, and there are no arrangements or agreements that can be made which will alter or retard the end product, which is you with nothing. Behind concertina wire and strapped to bed springs with electrodes on your genitals, being hosed down with cold water and videotaped for their amusement forever and ever. Hell on earth without end. Maybe they can be quarantined on an island somewhere, and maybe they can be reconditioned and sold as used and reformatted hard-ass drives. Maybe they can be shot into space or sealed off below the earth, and maybe more extreme measures are called for. This isn't my department. My job is to call for restraint and mercy once you've located your balls and self-respect enough to stop them in their tracks. As vicious and deserving as they are of any punishments you can imagine, you have to keep one thing in mind. You don't want to wind up like them. What festers in that wound that once housed their souls has its origin in a distant and atavistic antiquity where things went wrong and stayed that way until now. There's plenty for everyone here. The technology to transform the world into a garden of delight is here. The wisdom and intelligence to order and maintain harmony and parity for all is here. It's all here. It's all within you, dreaming of the opportunity to awaken into reality and replace the sad legacy that has dogged our heels from time out of memory. We don't need to reconstitute the same old shit into a new version of it. In a time so short that it would take your breath away, we can change this world from pole to pole. It's already gotten started without most of us. All we need are 10% of us to awake and willing to engage. There's never more than that figure, or less, involved in most of anything that ever gets done. Everyone else just follows along, and you can count on their self-interest to keep them on track, if you've got a better idea. A peaceful revolution is accomplished with a few adjustments. You don't go to work. You don't pay taxes. You don't go to war. You don't spend your money on the corporate assembly line of colorful plastic shit. You bring the banksters to their knees, and then you destroy their system of control. No peaceful revolution ever gets accomplished peacefully, but you can come pretty close. They can't keep the hallucination machine in operation if you don't participate. Wiser and more informed minds than my own are required for that end of it. I'm just here to tell you, it's time. How you know that it's time is when you can see the distance between where you are and too late, and figure that right about now is close enough.